What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Hey, super sorry for that mega huge delay between Mike A Part 1 and this episode, which is Mike A Part 2. Let's get right to it. I'm Jeremy Miller.
I'm Dallas Terrell.
And we are the Betterment Bros.
Jack in the Box, get pulled over, got the bag in the trunk, hem me up, take my cash, impound my car, throw me into jail. This was Christmas Eve, 2017?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, 2017.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, man. Went to jail, sat in jail for a couple of weeks, detoxing in jail, horrible, kicking, going through it, you know, definitely going through it. Exhausting all my funds, like, hey, like, mom, go get this car for me so we can sell it so we can bail myself out, that whole thing, you know. End up talking to my mom on the phone. She's like, son, you need some fucking help.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's time for you to get your shit together. Like, you can either stay in there or we'll pull this little last bit of money and bail you out, but you're going into treatment. Fucking sign me up.
Yeah, sounds great. When we going?
When we going? You know, I was already sitting in there for 2 weeks, and it's like, well, fuck, any place is better than this place, right? Yeah. But a part of me was ready, given the fact that I have my kids, and I was feeling like a real piece of shit.
Pretty hard.
Yeah, I felt pretty hard, man. Lost it all, you know. Lost my freedom, lost the privilege of seeing my children, you know, lost my sanity, lost my health, right? Just loss after loss after loss.
So how much did you have to spend to bail yourself, just to even bail yourself out?
It was like 150K, so
10%?
250K. 10% of that's 25,000.
Gotcha. That sucks.
Yeah, and then plus the lawyer fees, right, and things like that. And it was just a loss all around, man. And so decided to get myself into treatment, you know, and I love my mom and I love myself enough, right? You know, at that time I didn't feel like it, but, you know, with a little bit of clarity and, you know, more sobriety along my journey, I was like, you know what, I could do this, but got myself into treatment and continued to fight that case that I bailed out from, continued to fight that case and got sober, man. I guess I know this is long-winded and I'm kind of going in all directions, but got sober. Almost 3 years sober, a little over 2.5 as we speak. But the 2.5 years ago when I went into treatment, I was ready, man. Not for just myself, but my kids, man, they mean everything to me, you know? When you have an incentive like that, I look at it as like a blessing as opposed to somebody that, you know, maybe doesn't have, you know, a support system or something that they really need to work for to get sober. You know, me, I was lucky enough to have my kids, which gave me a fight, you know, gave me a fighting chance. Right. So I had that. And, you know, I went to treatment, man. And, you know, it was my first time in treatment and I had no problems with treatment, dude. I detoxed in jail a couple weeks before that. But when I went up to the detox cabin at this particular facility, I had a little bit of clarity, so I was like, I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I need. Like, this is where I need to be. And, you know, worked the program, did fairly well, you know, made the family proud, and decided to stay where I was at this facility and get some more sobriety, get some more life skills, have a job, be around a solid community, you know, get back into my physical fitness, you know, and prove to myself that this is a lifelong thing. This is a choice this is a lifestyle choice that you make. This isn't, let me get 3-6 months sober and then throw myself back into a toxic environment and see how I do. I was over the lifestyle. I was done with it. I saw the damage that it did to my children, to myself, to my freedom, to those around me. And I decided to stay, and it was the best decision I've ever could have made, you know. It's you know, it's definitely, I mean, definitely helped me see the light. Definitely got some skills, right? You know, in the facility and things like that. You know, and then and you would think everything was going great, and everything was, but keep in mind I had this case that I was still fighting.
Yep.
Yeah, and I knew in the back of my head, like, you know, going to rehab could possibly minimize the damage, right? It was like damage control, which was a plus, but I truly was ready to go to rehab. I wasn't even thinking about how that could affect the outcome of like the court's decisions or whatever. Mm-hmm. Come to find out, it does look good in the court's eyes when you check yourself into rehab and it's not court ordered. Yeah. And that's what I did. I checked myself in. So checked myself in, or completed the program. Had to basically go back to jail because they ended up filing the charges on me for the case that I caught a couple years ago. Had to go back to jail for 6 months to try to give me 3 years in prison because of it. And keep in mind, I'm sober at this time for about a year and a half or so.
They tried to give you 6 years?
No, they tried to give me 3 years.
Oh, 3 years
in prison, right? And my lawyer was fighting that for about a year. Like, we're not taking that deal. This guy's doing great. He went to rehab. He's getting his shit together.
Oh my God, 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Fuck.
That's what I said.
And I have a feeling that we'll get to this part of the story, but it's like, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if this is just my experience, but I don't really see a lot of reform happening when, you know, like how many people have done treatment, gotten sober, and then gone to jail and come back 100 times worse.
Right.
A lot, man.
You know?
Right.
So good on your lawyer for fighting that shit. 3 years, it's like, dude, you might as well just like undo all this work.
Right. And I was, and you know what? 3 years, long time. And you know what? In my head, I didn't want to even take the 6 months.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, I'm doing great. I'm sober. Like, you know, I was feeling good about myself and knew in my heart I was done with the bullshit.
Yeah,
you know?
It wasn't you anymore.
Wasn't
it's hard
me
to
anymore.
own that consequence still.
It is, very much so.
Yeah, and if you had like 3 months clean, I could see it being like, dude, the guy's only been clean 3, but it's like
Year and a
half.
half
like,
clean, working at a treatment center, helping
Right.
other people clean up their life.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, what the fuck more did the courts want from you? You know?
Right. And you know what? and it helped. I could imagine getting that from those 3 years down to that 6 months. I mean, the facility, the treatment center for sure played a role in that, you know?
Of course. Yeah.
So, any questions, guys? I know.
Oh, that was it for me. I mean, yeah, I think about, you know, I've never been to jail.
Lucky.
Yeah.
No. I mean,
nice
makes
place
one
to
of
be.
us.
different path. You know, I was on a different path in my destruction, but yeah, it's a much bigger conversation about you know, the way our country handles drugs and
Yeah, dude,
you know,
that's the whole thing too.
the criminal aspect of, you know, using drugs, and it's like a very big conversation,
Very true.
big debate, you know.
Absolutely.
But it's just yeah, I mean, I've seen it, you know, working in the field, right, where you see people that have come to us and we like turn them around, you know, and help them turn themselves around, and then they got to go back and do 2 years, and it's just and they come back different person.
Yeah, I know a client of mine right now is still in there.
Yeah,
Still in there, dude. It's got like 6 years, man.
Oh, man.
After treatment, dude. And it's like, those conversations are fucking difficult to have.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's very
like,
tough.
You know?
So
you got 6 months.
I got 6 months, right? They call it
a year and a half sober.
And a year and a half sober, correct. Did I say sober. A year and a half sober. And I was scared. Not to do the time, but knowing the environment that I was going into. This jail was in my home city. Keep in mind, I've been sober for a year and a half, cut all my ties with everybody.
Street life,
the street
gang
life,
the connections.
I was on a different path, you know, and to be thrown back into that environment, I was like, holy shit, you know. I mean, I kind of was trying to mentally prepare myself. I had a couple of months to prepare before I actually had to turn myself in and go do my time. Because of my affiliations, you're put into a certain you're put in with a certain group segment. I'm sure everybody's kind of familiar with how it works in prison or in jail, right? Your races stick together, right? If you've known each other from different gangs or whatnot, everybody kind of groups up together.
Mm-hmm.
And I considered, and I really considered, like not going with my quote unquote group segment, but there's repercussions to doing that.
Why'd you consider it?
Because I was done with the lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. And if you'd gone with something else, maybe it'd be different, or
my safety would have been in jeopardy because I was in an area where people knew me.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were like, hey, Mike's not programming with who he should be programming with, oh, that means he's a dropout or whatever the case may be.
It's worse to be a dropout than it is to be affiliated.
As far as safety goes, for sure. They're not, oh, what am I going to say? Oh, I'm sober now. I changed my life.
They don't give a fuck. Yeah.
They don't give a fuck,
Yeah.
So
that was a big thing to kind of weigh too.
That was huge. It's like I have to play this part.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to go in there and kind of play this role, walk the walk, talk the talk, and
at least enough. Yeah.
At least enough. And
even though that's totally not you anymore.
It's not me anymore.
Completely sober.
Had to go in there, walk the walk, talk the talk, thank God that I was, got these intimidating tattoos so I can fit in and I work out and it's like nobody fucked with me, excuse my language, but my heart wasn't in it, for sure was not, but it's politics and, you have to do things a certain way in that place. And I knew that kind of going in. And so it was a shit show in there. I stayed sober despite all the drugs that were going on and all the contraband and all the politics and, things like that. I just managed to stay busy, gave myself a structure, working out twice a day type of thing, make my phone calls when I had to, shower when I had to, point A to point B, minimal conversations with people, but just enough to keep things balanced, so to speak. So did my 6 months in there. Some crazy shit went down when I was in there. I think Dallas knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
Politics are crazy. Somebody ended up getting, hurt, right? Somebody ended up, I guess you can say somebody got stabbed, right? Somebody, and I saw that happen. Craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Fucking nuts, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So like when that, and pardon if this sounds like so like naive, but were you in jail or prison?
Excuse me. I was in jail.
Okay, jail.
I was in county jail.
Okay.
Yeah. But the politics are...
It's all the same.
It's all the same, and it's a little bit worse. And let me tell you why county jail's a little bit worse. Because you've got guys that are coming in fresh off the streets that are just committing these crimes right before they get sentenced and go to prison. In prison, it's a little bit more kickback. Not that I know, but I've had cousins and brothers in prison, and those guys are trying to do their time in a more peaceful manner. That's the end of the road, so to speak. That's their home, and so they kind of create that more peace. It's prison.
We all got to live here type of shit.
Exactly. In
Not
county
let's get
jail,
along, but it's
exactly.
it's more mellow. It's less chaotic.
It's less chaotic.
If it could be.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's kind of like the revolving door of just people doing bad things.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. All you gotta
valid question.
Yeah. All the knowledge I have is from either other people,
or the movie Shot Caller,
or movies, dude. Yeah, or movies.
Yeah.
And
that's probably a good thing, Jerem.
Yeah. No, it is. It is a good thing. It
Keep it
is
that way.
a good thing. I'm glad I didn't get caught for any of the shit that I did. But 6 months, I can't believe it was that long. Wow.
Yeah, it was.
And, so when you see stuff like that, when you're around that kind of stuff, it's like, and there's drugs in jail, right? Just for the audience, I know there's drugs in jail.
Absolutely. They keep it in their quote unquote prison wallet.
Jeremy knows where that is.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
So they
From
get
stories. I've
it
never
gets
had
in
to use
there.
it. I never had to use my prison wallet.
That's also a good thing, brother.
That's good. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's, you don't ever want to use that wallet,
Yeah.
No, man. Yeah, I don't want to use that wallet.
Keep your wallet in the back of your jean pocket. That's the wallet that we all intend to use, right?
So you're working out. You're trying to do your best.
Trying to do my best, reading books, writing letters to my loved ones. Had one of my cellmates doing some meditation, some mindfulness.
No way.
I did. Trying to bring what I have learned in my year and a half of sobriety, because I was a counselor at this facility, and I was running mindfulness groups and things like that, and I brought that meditation aspect to my cellmate. We were sitting down meditating. I'll never forget. And he was looking at me like, "Are you for real?" I was sitting down meditating. I was seriously doing it, and I convinced him to try it out with me. He did. So anything to make the time pass, and bring those new tools that I acquired, right, in my new life of sobriety into such a chaotic, horrific environment, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But it gave me the strength, and it gave me this like a shield or a force field to kind of maneuver through the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing is, so when I witnessed this person getting stabbed, everybody runs in there and lays everybody down in the pod. Everybody on the fucking ground. This, that, and the other. Excuse my language, but everybody on the ground, and we're all on the ground. And the COs, they rip open everybody's cell. They're looking for a weapon, this, that, and the other, and they line everybody out in the yard, and they're searching everybody. And I'm like, this is nuts, man. Like, holy crap. So fast forward a couple days later, after the commotion kind of dies down, I don't know what happened to the gentleman that ended up, getting hurt or whatnot, but I remember he was carried out on a stretcher, and a lot of blood. It was not a pretty scene. A couple days later, man, I'm getting a haircut, and after I'm done getting my haircut, I would get a haircut every week or two by one of the pod barbers there, and when I was done getting my haircut, I would wipe myself off, and brush myself off and things like that.
Get all the little hairs off.
Get all the little hairs off, right before I go hit to the shower. So a couple days after the incident, I got my haircut, and then a few days after that, so it's probably like 4 or 5 days after the incident, the guards come and pull me off of my like free time. They're like, "Hey, come with us." I'm like, "Okay, well, what's going on?" Like, "You got tattoos on your back?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, lift your shirt up." I'm like, "Okay." Lifted my shirt up, and I'm like, "Oh, that's him. I'm like, "That's me. What are you guys talking about?" "Oh, you're going to be charged with attempted murder." I said, "I'm going to be charged with attempted murder." Said, "Yeah, we have you on camera issuing the hit." They had me on camera. Well, they have cameras all over the jail, right? And they said I was issuing the hit by rubbing my neck after I got the haircut. And I was like, holy shit.
Oh my God, dude. It sounds like a nightmare.
It was a freaking nightmare.
That sounds like a movie, dude.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with that. Swear to nothing to do with it. And I'm like in my head like, yeah, okay, so they take me down to the briefing room.
You don't know any of that yet. Like that they saw the footage of you brushing your neck and that they think that is your signal to get this guy fucking shanked.
Correct. They bring me to the briefing room and they show me on the camera what I was doing. And they watch my reaction like, "This is you calling a hit." I'm like, huh? Are you guys for reals?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was brushing hair off my back. I didn't call a hit. I said, "I don't have any status. I'm not a shot caller over here. I'm doing my 6 months and I'm trying to get the hell out of here, man."
Mm-hmm.
Like
being pretty real with them.
Being fucking dead fucking real. Like, you're going to say I'm going to be charged with attempted murder? Like, was this a scare? Like, I know I didn't do shit, but just to hear it, and knowing that I'm affiliated with these knuckleheads, like, who knows what kind of strings they could pull,
Totally.
End up throwing me in the hole for a week while they do investigation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Solitary confinement, right? You're in your cell for 23 hours out of the day.
Did they give you a book?
I had some books. Yeah. They didn't
I mean, not that that's...
No, but those are like gold, man.
Yeah.
I was reading a lot up until that point, and this was like, I think a month or two before I was like making it out of that place or something like that. So it was just like a curveball, man. Threw me off.
A week, dude.
A week in the fucking hole. Excuse my language, but yeah,
dude,
man, it sucked.
This is an adult podcast.
Yeah.
A week. Could you imagine that, Dow?
Couldn't.
A week?
Dude.
I don't think I'd make it, man. I mean, I'm just, I don't know.
You'd have to adapt, man.
I would adapt.
Yeah.
I'm confident that I would survive, but at what cost?
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing
Yeah.
with incarceration, man. It's like, at what cost, you know?
Yeah, it's a trip, you know, because not only do you have the physical, like the environment, right, and like the physical threats that come from these guys, but like the narrative that you have in your mind when you're in that cell and it's just you and your thoughts. That's an entirely different battle.
I bet.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, and that's where, in my opinion, it's tough, you know, because then you have all this time to think and all this time to reevaluate life and all this time to judge yourself and all this time to maybe even judge others or judge the system, right? And you can build up and all these emotions flood you, you know. And majority of them in my circumstance, they weren't really good. They weren't positive emotions, but you know, we're human beings, dude. We're resilient creatures, you know. And I know this sounds crazy to people probably listening, but we learn to adapt. And that's just kind of like life, right? Like no matter what we're thrown into, kind of brings me back to my takeaway, right? Like we're still able to kind of adapt and make that choice, right? And I decided to, and I was scared. I didn't know how long I was going to be in there. They weren't like, hey, you're going to be in here for a week.
While we check this shit out.
No, they're like, you're going in here. I'm thinking in my head like, holy shit, let me call my loved ones when I get a chance to and like, kind of explain to them briefly what's going on.
Yeah.
Did they let you call people? And
Yeah, I was able to make my phone calls when I had that 1 hour out. You know, I get a quick little 30-minute workout in, shower, and then make my phone calls. So 30
because you
minutes.
can't work out like in the cell.
There's like a rec center, like
There's like a gym.
a very small, like little patio with like a pull-up bar and a dip station and an area to do pull-ups.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and thank God for that. You know, that was my therapy. Still to this day is my therapy.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I could only imagine how hard it was being locked up sober for a while. So what I kind of wanted to hear from you is like, what would you say was the hardest part about being locked up sober? Like, what was the hardest part of that whole experience?
Right. Well, that's a great question, right? I mean, well, getting sober was a challenge itself, obviously. So I had a lot of hardships with finding myself, getting sober, you know, creating a positive environment and keeping an open mind. So those tasks to becoming sober were difficult. Now, on top of that, leading up to like being incarcerated for 6 months for something that I did and I took full responsibility and I accept the consequences for. So paying the consequences for something that the old me did, right? It was kind of struggling with that, right? So that was tough because in my mind I was done with that lifestyle. I was changing, and to have that like resurface and have to confront that in a part of my life where I was closing the door on that past life was a challenge also. But moving forward, actually like being in jail, like losing your fucking freedom, right? Like that fucking sucks, right? Like having to deal with that. So the first week that I was in jail, I had to turn myself in. The whole build up to that was, it sucked, right? Just the anxiety of like knowing that I have to surrender, my freedom's going to be gone, going into an environment with a bunch of knuckleheads, right? And getting basically put back into a toxic environment that I didn't want any part of at this point of being sober in my life. So the crazy part is, so I had turned myself in, and the toughest part for me, aside from giving up my freedom, the obvious, the first week that I was in there, I made a phone call to my girlfriend, Jeri, you know, just to check in with her, right? You know, first, let her know how the first week's going, as you can imagine. I mean, not really well, right? Not going the best, but anyhow, look forward to hearing her voice, look forward to talking to her. And she was like, you know, she picks the phone up, and I can tell by the tone of her voice that something was off, but I wasn't extremely sure what it was. But anyways, make a long story short, it's like, what's up, babe? You know, what's going on? Just, you know, giving you my phone call, see how everything's going. And she's like, oh, everything's okay, babe, but I got something to tell you.
Damn.
I'm like, okay, that doesn't really sound good, right? Like, that's the last thing that we want to hear, like, from our girlfriends as men, on top of that, like, being in jail. So my mind was like, what the fuck? Like, are you leaving me? What did you do? Like, that's where my fucking mind went, like, automatically. Like, what the fuck? She's going to break up with me, or she found somebody. My mind just went to that dark place. Reeled it back in real quick, and I was like, okay, well, what's up, babe? She's like, well, she was super hesitant, and there's like some, obviously like a buildup of anxiety on my behalf and on her behalf too, because what she had ended up telling me was that my father had passed away the day before. And I didn't think I was going to get emotional, but and she said that, yeah, your dad passed away yesterday. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, he passed away. My dad was diabetic. He had a drinking problem, as I explained earlier, like in the podcast. He had a drinking problem, and, he neglected his health, and he ended up having diabetes, ended up amputating his foot, and from his foot to his leg. This whole process over a couple years happened, and he passed away. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, damn. I didn't really know how to react, because I couldn't, for one, I wasn't like face to face with her, so it didn't seem real. Two, I was in this fucking toxic environment of like, just chaos and just a bunch of bullshit going around me, right? On top of that, like trying to settle into this new environment. It was just a shitload of emotions is basically what I'm trying to say. And couldn't believe it. I was freaking sad. I started to cry on the phone. Kind of kept the conversation kind of short with Jeri at the time because I was trying to process everything. And I remember like hanging up the phone. I got some detail from her, but I knew his health wasn't well, and I knew ultimately like how he passed away, right? And I remember like, telling Jeri I would give her a call back, let me like get my shit together or whatever. And I remember hanging up the phone, and like I was tearing up at the phone when I was talking to Jeri. So after I hung up, I like had to be like mindful to like wipe my like tears off because I didn't want people to see me fucking like crying. It's my first week in there, so the whole like ego thing and like stigma of like you can't fucking show any weakness in jail like sets in a little bit, So I was like trying to like muster up the courage to like quit showing or to stop showing the emotion and not show any tears and like wipe the snot off my nose type of thing. And I remember just sitting down at one of the tables there, like trying to it sucks to say, but I was trying to suppress it because of the environment that I was in, but how could you suppress something like that? My dad just passed away. I can't go to his funeral. There's nothing I can do. I never got a chance to say goodbye to him. I was in rehab when he was sick, so I wasn't able to see him. I think I talked to him once or twice during the time I was in rehab. So all these things were like going through my head, like, fuck, dude, like it wasn't real. It just wasn't real. I ended up getting up from that table I had sat at, walked up to my cell. It was free time, obviously, at this time, and I went up to my cell and I just sat on my bunk, dude, and I just fucking let it go. I just started crying. Nobody could see me. I basically held it in for a couple of minutes. Went up to my cell, man, and fucking just let it go, dude, and just fucking cried it out, man, and felt like a piece of shit. All these emotions, I'm locked up, questioning myself, like, damn, like you fucked up to the point to where you're in this position because of the choices that you made that ultimately put you in this position, and now you can't even attend your father's funeral. And that was tough to fucking deal with. That was extremely difficult to deal with. And it's still like it's something that I'm gonna have to kind of like deal with till this day. But that was probably the hardest thing, obviously, that I think I had to deal with. Of course, losing a loved one is hard, right? Losing a parent, losing anybody that you're close to in your life is hard. But to throw me in an environment, like being incarcerated, right? Like that's fucking hard to deal with in its own. To like kind of have to suppress your emotions in a place like that fucking sucks. To not be able to attend a funeral and mourn properly, that fucking sucked. To not have a last goodbye, that fucking sucked. And overall, man, it was just I felt more alone than I could ever really feel, on top of being in an environment and circumstances that already, contribute to feeling alone and feeling isolated as much as you can feel,
Damn, Mike. That's a lot, man. That's heavy. Wow. Yeah. I mean, what I would just say to that is I appreciate you sharing that with the world, unfortunately, but I mean, that's part of your story. And, I couldn't imagine that. It sounds awful. And, I'm sure you can kind of use that to motivate you for the future, and never looking back.
Yeah, man. So dealt with that shit, man. Ended up getting out of there, right? A week after.
Obviously,
right? No
So here I
charges.
am.
No charges. Here I am. No charges were
So that
filed.
was yesterday. No, just
Yeah,
kidding.
that was yesterday. And got through that, So definitely was I guess you could say, what is this? Spit out of the mouth of the dragon, right? Or of spit out of the mouth of a monster, kind of out of that toxic environment. Got out of jail, and basically got back to my straight path of continuing to move forward, make progress, and embrace my sobriety. And here I am now. Pretty heavy shit.
Yeah, dude, I can only imagine.
I'm not sure how to wrap it up or
No, I think that, I mean, it's your takeaway, dude. Your takeaway, it's like a Tarantino
It's also
movie,
your
dude.
conclusion.
Yeah,
the
the beginning is also the end.
Oh, there you
know?
go.
Yeah, it's like, that's what I got out of it. It's
Okay.
like, and I hope, for me, and what I hope lands with listeners is like, it's not a matter of like, oh, you think you got it bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that. It's not about one up and, it's just like, yeah, like your takeaway, man. It's like, whatever we're in, we think is the worst it could be. And that weight that feels unbearable, it is bearable though. If you decide, if you decide
to bear it.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was taking through all that. It's like, because we have a friend who's, done some time and, we like to kind of not make fun or make light of, but like when we get into conversation about it, it's like fun, because we approach it with that, like, oh, did you do this? He's like, Jeremy, that's like in the movies, dude. That's not real, But one thing though that we have talked about a lot is like just the, you think your mind is, because I would tell him, I'm like, dude, I wouldn't last. Like, I just wouldn't last. It's not my, like, I need big space. I need, like, I can't, I'm not, I'm not like the fighting type, you know what I mean? Unless I'm drinking bourbon, which doesn't happen anymore, So it's like,
So not the fighting type.
not the fighting type, And, but he said one time, he was like, dude, you'd make it, man. And you'd be surprised at how much you can really get yourself to do when it's about survival.
Absolutely.
And and I'll think about that sometimes, when I'm like, oh, this fucking sucks. I'm like, well, but like, here I am though, like keeping on.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I think, and hearing your story, Mike, obviously like the recovery piece, it's like so inspirational for people in recovery, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, so many people they give up on themselves too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Or they use these things as like the perfect excuse to keep running,
Right.
very inspirational, dude. I'm really appreciative of your share.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What'd you think, Dale?
Yeah, me too.
You got thoughts on it, bro?
I think, you know what I mean? We've definitely talked. Me and Mike lived together as well, you know, so I think I saw Mike 2 days after you got out.
Yeah.
Probably. I think you had a nice weekend and
about
moved into the crib.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, you know, I've gotten to see Mike, you know, come into sobriety, go into treatment, or I'm not treatment, go into jail sober, come out of jail sober, get back to like how you want to be sober, you know, and as someone that's been sober with less hiccups than you, it's admirable, right, to be able to still make it fucking go right.
Absolutely.
You know? And
That's
it
right.
always circles back to what you said in the beginning, is you don't have a fucking choice not to.
Right.
You know, not to like discredit all the hard work we all do to get here,
For sure.
but it's easier to get here when we don't have a fucking choice but to be here or get here.
Sure.
Like when you kind of burn the boats,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you did. You burn the boats
Yep.
to the East Bay to some degree,
Very true.
and we don't sail over there anymore. Life isn't like that anymore.
Absolutely. I like that.
And if you can't once you can make that decision, right? Like once you can, kind of like I was saying with that book, from my takeaway with our dreams and our goals, once we can commit to them rather than the reasons we can't have them, we can do them.
Right.
You know? And so it's good to see, dude. You know, it's fucking super good to see, and I think it's healthy to talk about for sure.
It feels good, definitely, to talk about it. You know, not only to share my story, but you know, to get some feedback from two guys that I look up to, two guys that I think are doing great in the world, right? And you know, and for those of you listening, don't be afraid to share your story. You know, don't be afraid to ask for help, right? We all think help is a sign of weakness, but it's really a sign of strength.
Absolutely.
And you know, give yourself a chance, right? Like at the end of the day, when I was talking about my 2-minute takeaway, our choice is, you know what, like make that choice to like give yourself a chance. You know, only you can make that choice.
That's right.
So give yourself that chance, you know, and you'll be surprised that, you know, being sober and the life of sobriety, man, fights half of the battles for you in life, I swear, you know. So yeah,
Because being fucked up creates 100% of the battles we have. You know,
straight up.
Yeah,
it's
man.
like, damn, dude, you just get sober. I tell people all the time, you get sober and you chip away at the problems. Pretty soon you're gonna get to zero, and there's gonna be no more problems.
Yeah,
right?
or the problems you got left are like the best fucking problems. Like I
Yeah.
remember, dude, like my first year in recovery, right? It was like everything was just so bright. Everything, the littlest thing was just the biggest thing.
Yeah,
And
That's
I
the
remember,
pink cloud, baby.
yeah, like it was, and I remember like it was like my 1 year sober, and like we had like planned to all go out to dinner, huge dinner, like 20 people, you know.
Blow it out.
Yeah, and the place we were going to, like we had a reservation, and they ended up like the hood, is that a thing?
Yeah, the
in
hood over the stove. It's you have right out
is that
there.
what that is?
The thing above your.
Oh, that's the hood?
Yeah.
Okay, so something with the fire code and the hood, and they
Wasn't
had
up
to
to speed.
close.
Yeah.
And so we couldn't go.
Oh man.
And I was,
those things have to be up to par, dude, or else the whole
Yeah.
fucking place literally could burn down.
Yeah, they closed, right? So we all get there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we're closed, man." And for a moment, I was so crushed, and then I was like, "Oh my god, the biggest problem in my life today is that we can't go to dinner at this place,
Yeah.
but we can go to the IHOP that's right next door."
Bam.
You know, and that was what a great moment. You know, that's the biggest problem in my whole life. You know,
Was that you had to have pancakes
is
with your
that I
friends?
can't have Chinese. We got to do pancakes. You know, bummer.
Bummer, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah,
dude.
absolutely. The biggest problem I have is pretty similar. What are we going to eat tonight? Where do you want to go?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You
Where
know?
can we eat
Where
tonight?
can
oh,
we
we
eat?
got to eat at home. Okay, we fucking throw down in the kitchen, so we just
Yo,
rub
and
good.
What should we barbecue?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And I went over to Dal and Mike's house the other day. What a great scene, by the way. Everyone's palling around, hanging out. Mike made rice. Dal made chicken.
A little burnt, but
No, it was great. A little
How'd you like
crunch.
it? Little
The
crunch.
added texture, you know. I like the crunch.
right on.
But it was like, dude, and we were all just hanging out. You know, you guys got the at-home gym, dude.
We
Fucking
do.
Beautiful life,
so
man.
happy.
Yeah, I know.
Our
dude.
biggest problem is, oh man, should we get more weights or are we okay with what we have? You know?
We're not okay with what we
We're
have.
not okay. It's a huge.
That's
it's
our
a
biggest
huge
problem
problem.
in life right now is we don't have enough weights to lift.
But you do have 100-pound dumbbells.
True. Problem is we don't have
Context.
110, but you know, we're humans. We adapt, right? We make the best of things.
That's right. That's right. Well, shit. I think I think that was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
me
really,
too, man.
really grateful you came on, Mike.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having
appreciate
me.
it,
I
dude.
appreciate you guys,
Dude,
man.
Of course. That was
Yeah.
that was good,
Yeah,
dude.
it feels good just to chop
Sorry
it
you
up.
had to relive all that, dude.
No, definitely good to talk about it, you know,
course.
and good to be in a space where you're comfortable to talk about things like
Absolutely.
that. So thank you guys for creating that space for me, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Bro, of course.
Awesome.
Of course. This comfortable space.
Yeah. Comfortable
Very
space.
comfortable. And I look forward to more conversations, you know, and I was thinking like I like having people sharing their stories and stuff, and you know, so if you're out there and you're like, damn, I've never really done that, and you're interested in doing that, let us know.
Yeah, we got a safe space here to do that.
Yeah, and I don't know, for me, I like hearing other people's. You know, you learn a lot, and actually, just to kind of dork out real quick, is the oldest and most proven way for a human being to learn something is through story.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we had books, before we had podcasts and websites, we had stories, you know, and so they've done MRIs of people reading a book on a subject, and then that same person with an MRI of hearing that same content delivered in a story, and they retain, I don't remember the percentage, but it's a lot higher of the
X
story.
amount more, yeah.
Because you can relate it and plug yourself into what applies, and you know, so for that, I'm
You
very
can project
grateful.
yourself into their story
Yeah,
to take away from.
exactly. Thank you, Dal.
Yeah,
That was
of
well
course.
said.
Yeah, that's a good fact. That's a good fact, dude. And then it takes away, because it's hard to share your story, dude. So I think my final thought is I know how I've told my story right here on this same microphone in this same room. And when I finished, Jeremy was like, he had to like say something to like bring me back down to earth. You
That's
know?
right. Yeah, you were in it, dude.
I was in the thick of it, dude, for sure. You know, because there's this stuff you put back there, dude, that
Right.
you don't think about. I know to this day there's stuff when I go to sleep and I think about, I have to physically shake it out of my head to
Me
just
too.
get to a different place.
Me too. And
And,
maybe, not to interrupt you, I'm
no, you're
sorry,
good.
Dal, but maybe one of these days we talk about those things. Because I got them too, and
Yeah.
it's stuff I've never talked about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it might not be for the audience.
Or maybe it's for the Patreon. Yeah.
You got to pay a lot of money for that shit, dude. You
We'll
know?
make it the $99 tier.
I might need to be more than that, bro. You know what I mean?
All right, well, I'll do mine for $99.
For 99, Jeremy will do it, dude, and I'll fucking put it in my will. You know?
I'm sorry I interrupted you, Dal. We're-
No, you're okay. He's
Yeah.
like, what's the price, dude, to talk about it? I'm like, there's not. You know? Not a price,
Take
bro.
that to the grave.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll
man.
talk to God when I get there.
That's
you know?
right.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, that got dark. Huh?
Yeah, hey, but it's true, dude. So my point of that, though, is, dude, I appreciate you fucking bringing that up, man, and talking about your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, yeah, it feels good, dude. It feels good.
Yeah.
Feels good, for sure.
Yeah. So that being said, y'all, I hope we hope you enjoyed the episode. And we're grateful to Mike for coming on, sharing his story. Grateful for Jeri coming on, you know, and hopefully you're next, you know, wherever you are. I hope that you come on the show. And
I got someone lined up.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So that being said, here's the regular plugs, you guys. The website, betterment-bros.com. The email, bettermentbros@gmail.com. Come on, you guys know this shit, okay? You want to find us on the social? Guess what it is? We're at Betterment Bros,
Yeah.
okay? We don't post a lot, but when we do,
It's great.
it means a lot to us. So when you see the gaps in between our social posts, know that those gaps are full of hard work,
And
a lot of
effort, dude.
thought, effort, love, all of it's peppered in there, okay? So you may not get them every day, but it's like, you know, I mean,
when you do get it, be grateful.
yeah, I don't know.
They ain't always coming.
This is a really long way of saying that we got to be better. On
We'll
the
do
social.
better. Yeah.
But our dear friend Kayla is helping us out with some stuff that we're excited about for you guys. Follow her. She's at Walk Good Kayla. Okay, we want to hook her up with a plug. She also does freelance photography, design, web stuff. So if you need her services, I'll put her stuff in the description. And
That
being
reminds
said-
me of
Oh,
one
yeah.
more plug, dude.
Plug it, dude.
Mike A, fitness coach.
Oh,
That is true.
Dude.
you got a website?
I heard that you make pretty good ones.
I'll make you a
Yeah.
website, Mike.
I don't have a website.
Okay.
nutrition coach.
Nutrition
I don't.
coach.
Yeah, certified nutrition coach. Dow's up and coming, by the way, too.
That's
on
right.
That.
That's it.
So-
That's right.
That's it. We're getting there, dude.
So you do
Not as
fitness
fast.
and nutrition, Mike?
I got certified as a personal trainer back in 2010. Despite all the crap that you guys just heard, there were
Yeah, about
there were-
2010,
There
yeah.
were moments of sobriety, and fitness has always been a passion of mine. Recently got certified as a nutrition coach. Yeah, so if anybody is looking to get healthy, you can email me at letsgethealthy0330@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we'll put that in the description too and everything.
Yeah, we'll
Get
plug
that
it
to
in there.
everybody.
And listen, guys, whether Mike is certified or not, this guy's fucking jacked. Okay, like I remember, I think we talked about this last time.
The muscle ups.
Muscle ups.
Yeah.
I was cracking up.
dude.
When you were listening to that, yeah.
I mean, a muscle up's hard, guys. So, anyways, that's Mike's stuff. We'll put it in the description. We're signing off. We've been in here for a long time. This is, by the way, Dallas and Mike. It's not our longest episode, but it's our second longest episode.
What's our first longest?
Wow.
I don't remember.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, but in a good way. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is rich content.
We could
Okay.
fucking.
So don't turn
we could
that
part
into a narrative,
one.
Mike.
Yeah.
I saw you going there like, oh fuck.
I
fucked
fucked it up.
No,
Yeah.
this is
No, we could
perfect.
part one, part two this, dude, and just keep people on the hook.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea. Part one, part two.
Yeah.
Build the suspense.
Yeah, because just recently I was talking to someone. It's hard to keep people engaged more than 50 minutes to an hour.
There you go.
Oh yeah. Dude.
So
yeah.
we cut it in half.
Let's do that. I like
go.
it.
Yeah, we're doing you a favor, audience.
Yeah, you're welcome. See how much we love you guys. All right, we're signing off. I'm Jeremy Miller.
I'm Dallas Darrell.
And I'm Mike A.
All right, y'all. Take it easy.
There we go.